right, listeners. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to actually have you meet some of the amazing people on the Turning the Corner team. So you hear from me all day long, every week. But today I want to actually introduce you to my amazing colleague, John Bartley. Now, John and I have a fascinating background together because John is one of the what was kind of one of my favorite employment stories. He was a client of ours. He worked for one of the organizations we were supporting for many years. And one of the things about hiring at Turning the Corner is that we just don't really struggle to hire because we have people who want to join this team. And John was one of those people. And so I'm so thrilled he's on the team right now. And I want to give you a chance to just get to hear his background and his story because he also is sort of symbolic of the type of work that we do at Turning the Corner. John, welcome to How I Turned the Corner.
Thank you, Kendra. It's great to be here.
So give us a little bit of your backstory. Like, how did you get into HR?
Yeah, HR, the career that I actually never intended to have, that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, HR started as my day job. As you know, I did a lot of performing and music, and like that's a big part of being creative is a big part of my life. Um, but the day job started to take over. Like it became something that I just found I was kind of good at. And I was enjoying learning about it. And I started in recruiting, which is, closest to sales and the most interaction with people. And so I really enjoyed that part of it, connecting people with jobs or helping people who are already an employee grow and like see what the next step is. That was really exciting to me. And so that's what sucked me into HR in the first place.
Yeah, I love that. And so one of the things that I think makes you such a great fit for this team is that you didn't set out to be in HR when you started your career. And so I think we have a unique ability to sort of sit on both sides of the business table and that we're supporting the business and getting the results for the business, but we're also supporting the people. And good HR is done that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and what was unique about where I started too is that, I mean, this was a nonprofit cancer research center and cancer treatment facility in Seattle. And so we're kind of not a typical HR department. I mean, yes, we had a lot of very talented and skilled people, but we were very mission driven to the point where we would do some very creative things where we would really kind of push the envelope in terms of how we worked with our employees or what we offered to them, because the most important thing was curing cancer. And so we were working with some really incredible scientists who were terrible at working with people, but we wanted to help get like move things out of their way, get obstacles out of the way, help them with their people issues so they could focus on the science and solving really big problems. And so I kind of grew up in an HR environment that was not a department of no or not necessarily like super strict all the time with rules because we had a higher purpose.
Yeah. And I love what you just said because so many people see HR as that department of no, the cops, the one person you don't want in the room when you're having that kind of conversation. That's just not the way we are at Turning the Corner. We are so much more about being like, yeah, we get it. That's not really very fun. We agree. And this might be the law, or and this is probably the right thing to do, or and we might see the combination of ways to solve this problem, but rarely, and this is another thing I just love about you, but rarely is there like a black and white answer to anything that you say or do. You're always looking at like the gray in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the honest truth about HR. If you're really practicing it and doing it well, is that you are able to put yourself in different people's shoes, look at things from different perspectives, think about different pathways for the business and what's most aligned with the mission and vision. All of these different things, you're trying to pull all of it together. You're looking a couple of years down the road. You're looking at risks. You're looking at opportunities. All of these things, you're trying to synthesize it together. and all in the context of the workforce and the people that are making this whole engine run. And that's what I think is most interesting. I'm not a person who gets really excited about just saying, well, this is what the law says, so this is what we have to do. It's like, well, what's the law trying to accomplish? What's the right thing for employees? What's the right thing for the business?
So, what are you noticing with a couple key trends right now in the world of employment and employers?
Yes, I mean, there are a few things going on. I think in the knowledge workspace, there has been and will continue to be this conversation about what the right level of in person versus remote work is. And it depends on the business, so my favorite HR answer, it depends. So I think you are seeing this normalization going on. The pendulum swung very extremely one direction out of necessity during COVID. And we realized some benefits from that, but we also found some challenges. And businesses are taking different approaches to try to find what's right for them. So you see other businesses swinging it all the way back and bringing everybody back to the workforce, which is a very popular approach. People love that, especially when there's like no reasoning behind it or no purpose. That's yeah,
Being a little facetious there. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
totally. Yeah, so that's not finding a lot of success. And so I think where I'm seeing businesses really do a good job of it is that they are very engaged with their workforce in the conversation. They're showing flexibility. They're showing a lot of understanding about what employees want, how they can be most productive, acknowledging that a lot of us in the knowledge workspace benefit from having a day or two to just really focus. But what they also have conversations with their employees about is yes, and there is time that we spend together that can be very meaningful. It's either building relationships, which is important for being able to navigate conflict or challenges or problems. Like all of that is important. Professional development, like having that time to really interact with your mentors or leaders um, that are in person. Strategic planning, brainstorming, all of that kind of stuff is a lot better in person. And then, of course, just the having fun part of work that kind of went away for a lot of people. And I think it's great to see clients of ours really introducing fun and in-person time back into work. So obviously that's one of the big trends.
hmm So, in spite of the fact that I am here and in this conversation with you, tell me why you love working at Turning the Corner. Like, why here right now?
Well, obviously my boss is the best. Right. No, I mean, when I think back to the beginning of this conversation and you were talking about, what drew me in the first place. I remember those interactions with Turning the Corner. I remember how happy your employees were, how fun it was to work with them. The kind of there we just felt very simpatico, like very similar in our approach to the work and taking care of people. And so I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to keep that in mind when I am ready to leave this current employer. Um, it's going to be Turning the Corner whose door I'm going to knock on. And so I did, and in the way that I've been lucky in my career, like where the stars align, and there just happened to be the right role at the right time for me. That was great. But what's keeping me there is several things. Um, Flexibility, um, the way that you walk out the talk with our values. So family first and delivering beyond expectations, keeping those things that, tension with those first two values. I think you are able to hire people who can manage that and do it because it's a challenge, right? But really, truly taking care of yourself and your families and delivering, it's and acknowledging that sometimes like one or the other is going to take a little bit of priority. But you're willing to go the long haul with people to make that happen. And then I think the growth. that you want for people. Like you truly want to see people happy and thriving in their careers. And it's that energy is something that I can always feel and tap into. It's honest, it's authentic. The authenticity that you encourage from all of us to be exactly who we are, bring our own viewpoints and challenges to the table for the good of the entire organization, even when we're respectfully disagreeing or providing constructive feedback, which I know I am guilty of a lot of the time. But yeah, I think it's those qualities that keep me at turning the corner. And it's the opportunity to do influential work with our clients to really make an impact on their business.
Mhm.
Plus, I get to hear about people's wacky careers that I just like never knew. That's my favorite part of HR is like learning somebody's strange job and even going like, oh my God, I had no idea like that somebody would do this. But of course, somebody needs to do this job. That's like my favorite thing.
Oh, I know. I love that part too. Feels like every day I say, I think I know about almost every job. And then I'll hear about a job I've never heard of. And then I'm like, okay, still plenty of jobs to learn about.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I sat next to a guy that sells the dyes that go into flowers
Oh
at a
my
bar. And I was like, never thought about flower dye.
power die. Oh my God. See, no, now I need to know everything about that. We're gonna
I
have to.
know. So we've talked about kind of the transition from in person to remote, and you said something really neat the other maybe a couple of weeks ago now, but about how we've kind of mastered at TTC, we've mastered the hybrid environment with how we're currently running things. Do you want to share just what how we do it?
Yeah, well, we do it with intentionality. So we talk about it too. Like we're always checking in. One of the reasons that we're successful is that we keep checking in and making sure that we have the right level. And we have people who are open to like, there might be times when we need to get together a little bit more frequently to work on something. And people are open to that, right? But I think what we have done well is providing people that time to focus, but being strategic about bringing people together to work on things that are important to the business and important for our connection. A lot of intentionality about those in-person meetings. We even just expanded them a little bit, right? Because we felt like we needed to spend a little bit more time together on like actually getting things done as a group. We still have our virtual checkpoints when we need them. Um, and we, utilize some like questions or, little games to get to know each other better, but in a way that's not cringy and painful. So yeah, I think we have struck that balance, but even using our drop-in office space or flex office space to bring people together from time to time and just work in the same area, work around each other. Um, I think we try to find that balance, and most importantly, we continuously communicate about it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so too. We've just for the listeners, we've always had a very flexible environment, even pre-COVID. And but now what we're doing is we're really 100% virtual, except we do come together once a month for a face-to-face team meeting that's longer and extended, and it's very intentional. We have intentional team building, intentional time to get to know each other with intentional activities around improving and getting better as an organization, whether that's specifically on a work item or on actually a skill, learning a new skill. And so all of that has just been really neat because even though we only see each other really 4 hours a month face to face, we
Yeah,
feel so close. I mean, I feel,
too. Yeah.
yeah, like a
Well,
community.
yeah, we've built that community, and I think what this balance has enabled us to do is apply that to our clients as well. So there are going to be times when we're working virtually with our clients because it's faster or it gets the results that they need. But then we'll be very intentional about going on site with them to look at the workspace, to create deeper relationships with those leaders, to do training, to have that kind of impact that only being in person can have. And so we bring the same principles to the work with our clients, which I think has been very successful for us. And as a differentiator, I think, in the way that we approach our HR work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which actually let's just talk about that for briefly too. In that, a lot of the things we recommend to our clients, we recommend it because we've done it. We've experienced it. We've seen it work. Either we've seen it work in other environments that we've been a part of, or specifically we've seen it work at TTC. And so that's the other thing I think I really, really appreciate about you as a member of this team is that you're not going to recommend something that is just some harebrained, trendy idea that we
Yeah.
know in reality was like, what? Or as you said
Yeah.
earlier, cringeworthy, right?
Yeah.
But it really is something that we know will make a difference and and work.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think part of it is the diversity of experience on our team. We have people who have worked in all sorts of different industries. Um, because you're right, something that works at a like big box retail store is not going to work in a like smaller labor environment necessarily, right? Like these things all don't translate. And so we don't bring just one solution or one like template policy to a client. We really have to like understand what their needs are. What is the problem that you're trying to solve? Is there a problem you're trying to solve? Um, and making sure that what we're doing is going to have the impact that we hope for the business and for the employees. And I think that is really different from a lot of other people and how they approach HR work. Um, they don't ask the critical questions, and they don't have the deep knowledge of our clients that we do. I think it's the way that all of us approach the work. We really want to get to know the business deeply so that we're providing the best solutions. Like you just kind of have to know the business. You have to know what makes it tick. Like how is it profitable? What are the dependencies? And where are they trying to go? And then you can put together the programs and policies and approaches that are going to support them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a perfect place to kind of end this and just give our listeners just a taste of who John Bartley is. So thank you so much for joining me today, John.
You bet. My pleasure.